everybody left. We were like,
probably...
what in the world is good? And I'm like, yeah, we're at the park with cameras with no kids. That don't look good. I mean,
well, of course we didn't know until after filming. Thank God, because I wouldn't have filmed like I did.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be doing 5 things the Dutch are weirdly more relaxed about than Americans. We're going to be checking this video out. She didn't even know which video we were going to react to until like 5 seconds ago. So
yeah.
It's by the channel Living Life Digital.
Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for your continued love and support. If you're not aware, my name is Fee, and together with my family of 4, we moved here to the Netherlands from the United States. And I just love talking about the differences between the two countries, the cultural shocks that I've experienced, as well as just sharing our adventures here in the Netherlands. So quick question for you guys. Which group seems more relaxed when you think of Americans and the Dutch? Is one nationality more strict and uptight about certain things, and is the other one more chilled out and relaxed? I don't know.
I think Americans are probably really uptight.
Probably. I mean, it depends on the person, I guess. I don't know. I mean, they are laid back over there.
Yeah.
They have a lot more relaxed rules when it comes to like certain things.
Right.
The tolerance and stuff, and where I paused it, her face looks uncomfortable.
For me, it's a toss-up, and it depends on what you're talking about specifically. Both the Dutch and Americans can be relaxed depending on the context, but in this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 things that the Dutch are more relaxed about than Americans. So you guys know how we do it here. Go ahead and get comfortable, get yourself your favorite snack, and we'll get right into it.
I want to know where she's from in America.
My standard. Well, we could check out her about section.
Okay, let's kick it off with number 1, and that's nudity on television. Now, I have to say, guys, this one has quite shocked me, and it's not because I'm a prude, or at least I don't
I forgot about that. They have the topless news.
Oh.
I heard about it like years back, but I just remember when she said that.
Honestly, I've never heard that.
Yeah. And then they got the red light district where prostitution is like a...
I knew that.
You know, a lot different than here.
Yeah.
Myself prude, but we have definitely noticed that nudity and just showing certain body parts on Dutch television is definitely more prevalent than it is in United States. If you want to see any form of nudity on American TV, you're gonna have to turn on Showtime or HBO. Even late night television won't show certain body parts like breasts. It's just really not acceptable. Cable channels might show racier content, but that wouldn't air until after 9 p.m. or even much later. And even with that, it would be nowhere as racy as the Dutch commercials or TV shows. What really initially surprised me is how Dutch commercials...
I don't want to like interrupt her.
Oh, it's the video. We can always go back.
Yeah, so, what is the point in that then? Is it just something that just popped off and
I don't know,
got popular? Or if anybody knows that, let us know in the comments.
I mean, it's just been well, like most things, you know, it's like,
because I know they have the nude beaches.
Well, they have nude beaches around the United States.
I've never been to one,
but they have them. I've never been to one either.
Yeah,
it's a thing though.
Yeah,
but see, when you think about it though, like a lot of stuff becomes a thing, or a culture becomes a culture just because people's been doing it that way for hundreds of years. This and it slowly progresses, you know. So if everybody's in different areas,
right,
doing different things, you know, they're gonna create different cultures.
Are way more suggestive than the commercials in the United States. You know, a naked butt at 5 p.m. isn't anything to bat an eye at or be shocked about. And I don't know if Americans seem less relaxed about this because nudity isn't something that we're used to. But I see that here in the Netherlands, people aren't really offended by their bodies, and they shouldn't be. It's just normal here to see nudity on TV. Maybe it'll be normal as well in the US. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comment section. Okay, next is interracial couples. The US has no shortage of racists behaving badly, and the past couple years has made this abundantly clear. In some parts of the country, people still believe that different ethnic...
Yeah, of course they had to show the guy that stormed... He's the guy that stormed the Capitol building, right?
They say.
Well, allegedly.
I mean... Yeah, that's a whole another story.
Yeah.
section. Okay, next is interracial couples. The US has no shortage of racists behaving badly, and the past couple years has made this abundantly clear. In some parts of the country, people still believe that different ethnicities should not mix, and this is in 2023, and they believe that interracial couples are inherently bad. And you really won't see interracial couples in certain areas of the US. And there was actually a poll done.
That's the thing. There's a lot of racism in this country, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By Gallup Minority Rights and Relations that claimed that 13% of Americans do not approve of interracial marriage. And just to contrast that with the results from 95, where 48% of Americans believe that interracial marriages should not exist. So I guess we're moving in the right.
The 13% must have been the Netherlands then, because it said 48%. See, I'm going to go back. Oh, no, it says 13% of Americans do not approve of interracial marriage.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's in, 2013.
Not approve in 2013. So
Interracial marriage. And just to contrast that with the results from 95, where 48% of Americans believe that interracial marriages should not exist. So I guess we're moving in the right direction, but really 13% still believe that interracial marriages are not okay. Now, while I don't have the data for here in the Netherlands,
I don't think that's as accurate as. I don't know. That's something I don't really know, but like
where they get the numbers
just
from.
knowing like my grandma, for instance, she was like really weird about that kind of stuff because that's just how she grew up.
Well,
but even now, she has an understanding of like, she's starting to accept it more. It's just,
Right. Well, that's what they're saying. In 95, 48% of Americans didn't agree with it. They were like racist in a way. Now it's only 13 or 18%, 13%.
That was like 30 years ago.
Right, but it's getting better though. The racist people are being less and less.
Right.
So like you say, your grandma, now she's a little bit more understanding.
It's a new generation coming in.
Right.
I still believe that 13% would be much lower here. I feel like it's pretty commonplace to see interracial couples here in the Netherlands, and everyone seems to be okay with it, at least publicly. Generally speaking, the Dutch seem to be more accepting of people who look different overall. Again, that's obviously not all across the board, but I feel like the Dutch are at least more publicly tolerant and less vocal about any issues with interracial couples. But when it's all...
That's probably why a lot of Dutch people like me, and they said I fit in and good over there because I look different. You know what I mean? Like they like people to look different. I don't look normal with my dreads and stuff.
All said and done, we're all people. We should be able to marry and date whoever we want. I think that 13% needs to get with the century and get with the program because that number should be 0. Okay, number 3 is customer service in the Netherlands. Customer service isn't entirely customer-centric here in the Netherlands. And if you come from the land of the customer is always right, getting things resolved from the Dutch perspective might be frustrating at first, especially if you expect things to be resolved easily. And you get used to it and you adapt, but it might surprise you at first. And something that caught me by surprise here in the Netherlands, and it still does, is that customer service numbers here are toll numbers, which means that you pay when you make the call, which may act as a deterrent for people because you wouldn't want to pay, so you don't make the call, right? So while I can't say that the
You have to pay for a customer service call.
Oh, in the Netherlands you do?
Yeah, but maybe that would cut back on all the wasted time. People all the time just calling for dumb reasons. If it's going to charge you, you're going to be like, only call them when it's important.
I only call when it's important. I don't even like calling.
Yeah, I know, but you know how people are though. They just call and ask the dumbest questions, the simplest things. You could just go on Google and find out.
True.
But they wasted their time. They wasted call on it.
Oops. It's okay,
Yeah,
Anthony.
hi, little guy. He dropped something. But yeah.
eating dessert. When I'm back in the US, I feel like the American culture makes a huge deal out of eating dessert and can almost make it seem like it's shameful. Like it's a bad thing to have something sweet at the end of a meal. And yeah, it depends on the social group and the context. I feel
you see that in a lot of TV shows and everything, and then even like Good Mythical Morning and stuff, like Rhett, he'll mention stuff like, oh, I shouldn't eat that, oh, I'm a bad boy, you know. It's like that's weird to me. Just eat it, like it's, you know what I mean, like it's food. Like obviously, you know, if you have an issue with weight, and maybe you could eat less, but that's, you know, whatever. But that's if you're self-aware, you know. If not, who cares, really?
Right.
I mean,
like most of the time, dessert is not even an option at US restaurants because we're so full by the time a dessert menu is presented to us. Thinking about eating one more morsel at that point can make you feel queasy. But when Americans
That's also because now it's like,
you eat so much food though.
yeah, but
Big
it's like for
portions.
one dessert, it's like $10.
Oh yeah.
Nobody could afford that, especially with the tips and everything else in America that we gotta do to even go out.
Right.
and still have room and want dessert, especially women, you'll hear them say stuff like, oh, I'm gonna be bad and get some cheesecake today. Or maybe, oh,
Yeah, like Red for Good Mythical Morning. Oh, I'm being a bad boy. Like it's a good show. I like it, but like that's weird to me. Like just the way he says it, like, or just people in general that say that. Like they're probably not watching, but if you are, I say it out of love, guy.
I'm gonna go ahead and get a cheesecake and share it with the table.
know why I
I
looked at the
mean,
microphone.
there's so much
Camera's right
guilt
there.
about having dessert in the United States that we can't be anything but uptight about it. But let's look at the Netherlands. What about the Dutch? I feel like anytime I've gone out for a meal with any of my Dutch friends, you know, they'll always order dessert. And I'm not saying that they're gorging themselves with pastries and cake and ice cream and cookies.
But they're eating smaller
Their
portion
portions.
size, so they're probably eating the same amount of food. But you know, you're looking at the portion size of the main course is
Right.
smaller, and they're like, oh well, Americans have more food. Well, if that's all we're eating, and we don't eat the dessert, it adds up. So if you take like half of that away, replace it with some pie or some cake or something, you know, in total you're probably eating the same amount of food. It's just
Right.
more balanced. You got some sugar in there. Man, I want to eat dessert more often.
He's 24/7 because that is not the case by any means. But I feel like when the Dutch go out to eat or when they're hosting a dinner at their house, dessert is always offered. And most of the time, it's eaten and savored. And even when eaten at home, it can be as simple as fresh fruit or yogurt. And it just seems like most meals here in the Netherlands end with some dessert option, just as normal as having a beverage to drink. And just a few things to note in the Netherlands, dessert portions are small. You know, a small triangle of fruit tart or cake. Not like what we have in the US that's a size of a brick and 1,000-calorie bomb from the Cheesecake Factory. Normally, with the Dutch meals, you usually have room for dessert because the portions of dinner or lunch are not huge. So I've definitely noticed with the Dutch, there's no shame
She just said because the portions
Yeah.
aren't as big. That's what I was just saying like a minute ago. Hit like and hit subscribe, guys.
mentality. Food is to be enjoyed in moderation, of course. And finally, taking time off from work and using your vacation time. I find that the
They
Dutch
win.
are so relaxed and chilled about their time off of work, and that's because they have so much of it. Most Dutch employees have almost a month of paid vacation within a year, and they're encouraged to use it. And some people have even more than a month off, with 5 to 6 weeks off in a year. So you can take 2 to 3 weeks off in the summer, in July and August, and it's expected. I mean, telling your boss in the US that you want to take 2 to 3 weeks off in the summer will probably place you in the performance improvement plan. I feel like employees in the US in general stress when they have to take their vacation days. I mean, I've been there as well. And that's because the demands of the job is really high. I mean, depending on the industry. But here in the Netherlands, taking your vacation time is a right. It's not a perk. And people make using that time off a priority. The work-life balance here in the Netherlands is just so much more prioritized. Unlike in the US, my friends and I always used to
That's what I
joke
try to
around
do.
and say that if a job posting lists that they have a good work-life balance, then that means that they don't, because a lot of US companies do not value a work-life balance. It's funny because a couple weeks ago, one of my Dutch friends told me that she took the Friday off of work to run some errands, and my natural response was, "Are you sure that's okay? Aren't you gonna get in trouble?" And she basically was like, no, it's my time. I can manage it how I want. not. And that had me pleasantly surprised because using your vacation time here in the Netherlands is not a problem, and I love that. Now, one thing I want to mention, guys, is that the US is a big country with a lot of people and it's quite diverse. So of course, not all Americans are one way. Just like all Dutch people wouldn't be relaxed with all the things that I mentioned here. This is just my experience, and I feel like I need to put this disclaimer. And generally speaking, I feel like these attitudes hold true. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Please let me know in the comment section what are the things you believe the Dutch are more relaxed about. Please be sure to come back because I'm going to be reacting to.
Alright,
Okay, so I actually have one, which may be not weird, but as an American, it's weird to me.
Yeah?
And that is like letting their children at a young age, like 5 or 6 or whatever, be on their own, like walking around and walking to the bus stop, or and that they
You said it's strange to you?
It is, because like it's not safe here to do that.
Right.
And
Well, because there's too many idiots. It's not walking friendly. There's no bike pass, walking pass. There's cars everywhere. People don't drive right. They don't have the regulations that they have in other countries.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This person says right here, I lost it, but it said Americans just eat their dessert for breakfast. Right here, I always find it so apparent that Americans in the Netherlands always feel the need to apologize or put in a disclaimer. That is typically American culture, I guess. I don't think a lot of Dutch people would do the same. That's Dutch bluntness. Yeah, so like people apologizing too much all the time and feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking more along the lines of like sexual predators.
Well, there's a lot of that everywhere, though.
Not as much. I mean, in the Netherlands, it feels like.
I don't know.
In my head, it feels like that they're just more
It does seem a lot
relaxed about
safer.
it because it's safer, and I get that, but it's weird to me because I mean, just a
Right.
couple days ago in our a local park, like a 66-year-old man
Yeah.
was arrested for meeting a 13-year-old girl
The same
at
park.
a park.
The same park we did the video on her channel.
Yeah, which
Does-
is
Good video. We'll put the link up here. It's a German playgrounds versus American playgrounds.
yeah, I knew something was up because literally, like as soon as I
There
started
was a lot of
filming,
cops.
all the kids started going to their cars. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
everybody left. We were
I
like,
probably
what in the world is good? And I'm like, yeah, we're at the park with cameras, with no kids. That don't look good. I mean,
well, of course we
we're
didn't
just-
know until after filming. Thank
doing a
God, because
video.
I wouldn't have filmed like I did
Right.
for sure.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's about it, guys. Hit like, hit subscribe. Check out American Girl Reacts channel. We may be switching it to American Couple Reacts. We're honestly kind of like not sure yet. So either way, it's there, whatever it's called. Go check it out. Have a super fun, awesome day. Catch you guys in the next one. All right, bye.
Bye, guys.